Hello friends, what's going on? And welcome back. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your little friendly neighborhood Jan. I hope you're doing well, as always, mate. I generally do hope that. And it's Tuesday in a transfer window. It's Transfer Window Tuesday, which means The Athletic of the New York Times has released the transfer deal sheet, which offers me and you the opportunity to peruse and see Huaguan in the world of transfers related to Chelsea, and I look forward to that very much. So it's going to be a dope video, fam, as the kids would say, presumably. And yeah, I look forward to diving into it. So strap yourselves in, make sure you're comfortable, pour yourself a drink. I've just nailed a coffee in my Picasso mug. So thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, it does help. We are actually on the road to 200k subs. It's slowed down to a glacial drip, because people don't love me anymore. But that's fine, because my cat loves me. I went to watch the under-21s yesterday at Kings Meadow. Shout out Alex Goldberg I met. It was fun. Oh, Felix Johnson as well, saw him, that was fun. And Nazar Kinsella. So ain't seen him in a while. It was nice watching Shimweka bag a hat-trick, wear the captain's armband against Man City's U21s, which was a fun experience. Got to meet his dad, his mum briefly, and his brother. Lovely family. And that kid, hopefully, is going to stick around Chelsea and bang some goals, because he is superb, I must say. Right, we are going to get into the deal sheet now, though. Enough Yannick lore of what I did yesterday. First of all, here, I want to show you this. So this is spent and received on transfers this summer. Unsurprisingly, Liverpool are top of the pops, top of the tree. And a little bit surprisingly, they've generated a lot of revenue. I suppose the bulk of that 188 would be Luis Diaz to Bayern München, Darwin Nunez to Saudi Arabia, and indeed Kwanzaa for a few quid, maybe others I'm missing. As you can see, Chelsea, we have spent 240 milli. We've already generated 205. Now, Chelsea will believe with the sales of Nkunku significant, Vega significant, and profit. Other players too that were looking, Carney Chukwuemeka, who else? Somehow Sterling and Chilwell, Disassi, should be very sellable, Disassi. We could not only get over, we could be, you know, the net spend could be in the minuses, but of course we'll be looking to get Xavi Simons and probably Alejandro Garnacho over the line, which is players we will talk about, undoubtedly in this video. Look at Man United in third place. LOL! Lots of money spent. How much have they generated, guys? Zero. Nil bois. Very poor indeed. You can have 20 million for Garnacho. Fulham made nothing. So yes, we are going to dive into the Chelsea section, which will be covered by the Chelsea correspondent, Toomey Johnson, them man. And it goes a little something like this. Chelsea handed new long-term contract. Yeah, I think I missed this yesterday. New long-term contracts to their sporting leadership team. So I guess this is in the wake of Club World Cup success with a young team. You know, relatively good domestic success with a young team yesterday? Last season. Feels like yesterday. Win Stanley and Stewart, they've committed to the club till 2031. There's like contracts. It's like a kid signing a deal with an option to extend. No, I added that. Senior recruiters Joe Shields. Oh, and Sam Jewell as well. Is it Jewel or Jewel? Jewel is more of a sparkly last name. But yeah, so the whole gang, they're sticking around. And to be honest, probably a good thing, provided they can all get on with Maresca and not forever deny him centre backs when he wants him. But for the moment, it looks like a pretty sweet ship, the good ship Chelsea. And yeah, all the guys doing well, so fine, stick along for the ride. At the end of a relatively quiet week for incomings and outgoings at Stamford Bridge, head coach Enzo Maresca said he believes Chelsea need to sign, here we go, a new centre-back in the wake of the ACL injury that sidelined Colwill, of course, such an important player for Chelsea, defensively, leadership-wise, but probably not spoken about enough in the build-up. Attacking. Offensively, line-splitting passes. We saw it against Palace. Where's our Colwill? Chelsea then kicked off their new Premier League campaign with a goalless draw against an obdurate... What does obdurate mean? I know a lot of words, but I don't know that one. Obdurate. Stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or course of action. I'd say that's appropriate. Alright, they were obdurate. Be obdurate, you silly little eagles. At the bridge, with Cobham graduate Achiampong deputising for Colwill in the heart of the defence, and some signing Gittins and Steva making their competitive debuts for the club. Yes, of course, because people were talking about, you know, Joao Pedro and Dillette making debuts. No, they've made competitive debuts. The Club World Cup, very serious trophy, world champions, 4 years, etc. So Maresca wants another defender. Do Chelsea need one? The bigger question might be, does a suitable one exist on the market? Colwill is so good and valuable because he has a particular skill set for a centre-back that's very hard to find, you know, like the aforementioned stuff. Chelsea are not inclined to sign a new centre-back in this window, as detailed on The Athletic on Saturday, as one of the key reasons is they do not see a Colwill replacement out there. I wonder if Colwill himself would probably be like, yeah, don't sign a Colwill replacement. Just wait for me to moonwalk back into the lineup. Chiampong started in the Colwill role in the middle of Maresca's back three against the Crystal Palace on Sunday. With Tosin, of course, he was also sidelined. He did not find enough progressive passes, here we go, speaking my language, to be a perfect solution as Chelsea was still stifled in possession, but his impressive display was a positive affirmation that he's ready to play regularly. Yeah, on the Chiampong, dude, he freaking kept the massive, horrendous, you know, task of Mateta quiet. He's a defender doing good defensive work, so I kind of see, look, if you've got the cover and defenders to stop the goals from going into your... The balls from going into your goal? That just sounds weird. Then they're doing their job. And in terms of build-up, in the absence of Colwill, they will be saying, just find another way, bro. The goals you're not conceding, so the defenders are stopping that. Use all the other players and score a goal. I'd assume that's what they're saying. Tosin is not expected to be out for long, thankfully. Badiashile could return after the September international break. Both are capable of providing at least some of Colwill's passing ability out of defence, and it's very possible that Achiampong could develop his game. He's only young. He's a teenager, bro. He can do all sorts. Believe. Chelsea are confident in their depth, including defence. Colwill's injury is unquestionably a blow, but there is also faith in Maresca's ability to find a solution in what he has. Alright, so what players and positions are Chelsea currently looking at? So this is the juicy stuff. This is what you're here for, and this is what we live for. Transfers. Chelsea's recruitment focus is what remains of August, is on rounding out their attack, which was held scoreless by Palace for the first time at Stamford Bridge since the opening weekend of the 24-25. Oh yeah, it was nearly a whole year. And nearly a whole year we didn't score at Stamford Bridge, which, by the way, like, deserves a mensch. Some good gear, that, mate. Lovely bit of business. Scoring all the time. And defensively, we've been pretty ruddy good, mate. Not then, though. And also, look, Palace are friggin' good. I don't remember the meticulous details of the stat, but you look at, like, Palace's big matchups against, you know, not just the finals, but also the big high-profile games in the lead-up to the FA Cup final and the Community Shield. All the big teams they played, none of them they were undefeated against all of them. And it goes back a while. Isn't that, you know, they will give bloody noses. Maybe once Eze gone and they get someone else, they might fizzle off a bit. But we've caught them in that rich vein of form. And it would have been a massive win to beat them. And we would have backed ourselves to beat them, but it really isn't a disaster. If we don't beat West Ham on Friday, then we will have talks. Because they are pony, mate. So, are you all warmed up for the big name? Yes? Are you rubbing your thighs for this one? Here we go, diving straight in. Alejandro Garnacho remains a priority target to provide competition with Gittins as a natural left-wing option. The Argentine has ruled out other options other than moving to Stamford Bridge, or he'll stay at Stamford Bridge. Old Trafford, excuse me. He wants to come to Stamford Bridge, or he'll just stay at Chelsea. He's not going anywhere else. Chelsea are in active talks with Man United in an effort to find a solution. We've sort of got them over a barrel already, haven't we? So, and the fact how you saw that graphic at the top of the article at the beginning of this video, they have made no money, and they've just signed Seshko and stuff. So, yeah, they don't want to play Garnacho, they want to sell Garnacho. Chelsea wants to buy Garnacho, he wants to come to Chelsea. You genuinely have very few stronger negotiating positions than that. So, I think Chelsea will still try and, you know, not like insult Man United, but they'll give them what they deem a significant fee considering the seller's position. Chelsea would also like to add an attacking midfielders to Maresca's squad, and informal talks continue of Leipzig regarding Xavi Simons, and Aston Villa star Rodgers is still highly rated with the decision makers at Stamford Bridge. So let's talk about Simons and Rodgers. Yesterday, when I was at the game, Fabrizio Romano, let's just quickly get this tweet up. He tweets so much, Romano, that when you want to like dig into something he said, it's like 1,000 years ago. Let's scroll down. Who we got? Like, here we go. Oh, that's Leeds. No one gives a thought about that. Come on. Where's the Xavi Simons? Okay, hold on. He talked about Nkunku. So negotiations just quickly on Nkunku continued today. Bayern are insisting for an initial loan. Chelsea only want a permanent transfer. I wonder if we can get an obligation. It might not be said here on his actual page, but he's maybe on this podcast. But the sort of here we go meter or something, you know. Here we go meter. Anyway, he says Leipzig, Xavi Simons to Chelsea's at 85%. Whatever that means. Oh, Liam Bailey to Roma. That's got to be instead of Jadon Sancho, because they were looking at him, weren't they? Yeah, man. So, look, Simons wants to come to Chelsea. He scored and assisted in the cup game for Leipzig. He will play the opening game of the season, and it's speculated that that will be Xavi Simons' last game for Leipzig. Guys, I spoke about it yesterday. I've referenced the Adam Cleary analysis. He could be hugely important, Simons, to Chelsea. And maybe watching that Crystal Palace low block and how it frustrated Chelsea only fermented that further. You can have an Enzo Fernandez in that left pocket, you know, crashing the box in certain plays. But when you're at a low block and there's nowhere to crash into, you maybe need a player like Simons that plays slightly differently in that position, can pop a few long shots, and changes the dynamic, and also changes the question that's being posed to the opposition. And that's a really wanky, boring way of saying it, but it's true. And Morgan Rodgers, very interesting that he's being highlighted here as someone who could still be done. And maybe, hashtag Oasis, still on tour, could be related to Nico Jackson, to Aston Villa. Can a deal be done? Maybe. At the end of the pitch, a goalkeeper is not a position that Chelsea are looking to strengthen this summer. I think we've all kind of understood that now. We went, oh, Donnarumma, and then maybe not Donnarumma. I mean, we did the stats comparison here. It kind of blew my mind. Pretty stinky, actually. And as such, they are not a suitor for the likes of Gianluigi Donnarumma, which is interesting. If he goes to Man City, that does seem like a really poor fit now I've looked at the numbers. So we'll see what happens there. What players could be leaving? Well, take a deep breath. Chelsea are well aware they still have work to do on trimming the players list. Any further signings this month would be made in conjunction with sales. Here we go. Nico Jackson. He's working with the club to explore a potential exit. 4 clubs. 4 clubs in the Premier League top half are understood to have inquired about Nico Jackson, as well as numerous Champions League teams. Lots of big boy teams. They all want Nico. For all of you man out there slagging off Nico Jackson, all the good teams want him. Chelsea are not desperate to sell the Senegal international. Well, yeah, that's the very thing, right? We don't care. We love him. But you're not including him in the team. Your manager, Maresca, is saying, yeah, I'm not using him because we're trying to find him a club. I mean, I get it. Maybe it wasn't in the financial plan, you know, until they realise they can make a lot of money. Chelsea are not desperate to sell the Senegal international, but are prepared to do the business if the price is right. While they would like £80 million, they would likely engage with buyers at a lower figure, as long as it remains within the broad price bracket at which several other high-profile strikers have switched clubs this summer. Yes. Nkunku's situation remains complicated, as reported by The Athletic last week. Bayern Munich have been in talks for the 27-year-old, but the shared desire of the player and club to find a permanent move rather than a loan is proving an obstacle. Good. Yeah, that's nice how it's not just Chelsea wanting a permanent move. Nkunku himself's like, yeah, I don't want to be loaned. I'm 27. Stop this silly buggers. Let me sign a 5-year deal. Let me settle down. Nkunku has interest from other Bundesliga clubs, including his former Leipzig, and has been subject of inquiries from clubs in Italy and England. Interesting. Yes, he should be a very desirable asset, Nkunku. You know, he really should be. Okay, who else here? Tariq George could leave Chelsea on loan or permanently this month, particularly if Garnacho arrives. The club are working closely with his camp to find where he can find a club where he can play regularly. One factor to consider is that many clubs that want the 19-year-old on loan would also like an option to buy him if an agreed price things go well. Yeah, I mean, he's high potential, high ceiling, Tariq George. Chelsea would rather sell rather than loan Renato Vega, who would represent a big profit. Axel Disasi, yeah, just, you know, get that done. Carney Chukwuemeka, that is a sort of project. Project 40 million for Carney Chukwuemeka has failed. They'll probably half that now, I imagine, just get the sale done. And then Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell, the difficult duo of business. It's going to be incredibly interesting to see what happens with them. Or not interesting, they just hang around at a bomb squad for 6 months. The expectation is that Vega and Disasi will be sold, and I do think they're desirable. Most likely within the Premier League. Vega in the Prem. Interesting. Chelsea have rejected offers for Vega from Spain this summer, and 3 clubs are in England are in the market for him. I wish I knew who they were. We could guess, but it would be pointless. Disasi has 2 firm suitors elsewhere in the division. Yeah, Disasi is seen as... I don't know why people kept playing him as a right-back and just making him look really bad. He's a good centre-back if you play in a certain way. I think he deserves that accolade. He does. As older players are high earners, Sterling and Chilwell's situations are the most difficult to resolve. Heck yes. And both could run till the end of the window. And of course, that same old sign-off, Alfie Gilchrist has interest from the Championship. Alright. I like how Morgan Rodgers is still being mentioned. He's a great player. A bit of the same. A little bit of some different stuff. I like how Romano is saying... Let's just quickly say this. I'm just searching it loosely. On X. I can't friggin' see it. But apparently he's really, really likely. He's 85%. Alex showed me something yesterday. I don't know. Yeah, so obviously personal terms were agreed a long time ago for him. Really exciting prospect. I just want to get going again. We'll obviously preview the West Ham game, but many deals will be done. We'll start seeing players going out. We'll see a couple of high-profile ones come in, and we'll have to be content with our squad, which is a very good squad. And of course, returning players from injury is massive. They will return, and they will make us better. Let me know your thoughts, though, gang. Do leave them down in the comments. And as always, give me a bit of admin, mate. Drop a like and subscribe. Why don't you, mate? Put the effort in. Tap your thumb on your screen or click the subscribe button. I know it's a lot to ask. Throwing shade at the viewers trying to get them to subscribe. But if you do like the content, I recommend this guy Who's this guy? Heck, it's me! On the second channel, Football Yannick. Daily content over there. Simply search Football Yannick on YouTube. Go check that content out. And heck, subscribe because I'm very close to 20k and that's a lovely feeling. Alright, mate. Enjoy the football. See you soon. Peace.